Good morning, students. So far, we have completed 2 units from class 12 physics syllabus. The first unit was electrostatics, that included chapter 1 and 2 from NCRT, and the unit 2 was current electricity, that had chapter 3 from NCRT. And today we are going to start with unit 3, that is magnetic effects of current and magnetism, that has also got 2 more chapters, that is chapter number 4 and 5. And today we are starting with chapter 4, that is moving charges and magnetism. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the introductory part of magnetic effects of current and Biot-Savart's law. So let us just begin. In the introduction part, first of all, we are going to discuss about the importance of magnetic effects of current in our daily life. Students, we all have come across such appliances which cause rotation. And we know that rotation is caused by electric motors. And students, the working principle of electric motors is based upon the magnetic effects of current. In addition to motors, all the electromagnets, they also function on the magnetic effects of current. Students, I'm sure in your lower classes you must have practiced this kind of small activity where we make use of an iron nail and we coil copper wire over it, and with this copper wire we connect a dry cell. This simple apparatus, in this circuit, when we close the circuit, what do we find? We find that iron nail which is kept inside this coiled wire has started behaving like a magnet. We call it as an electromagnet. We see that it start attracting all the iron articles lying close to it. If we place all pins near it, it starts attracting those, even the safety pins and things like that. The behavior of that iron nail has changed. It has become magnetic because of flow of current in the coil which is which have been revolved over it. And this clearly shows that current has got a magnetic effect. So all the electromagnets and motors, they are based upon the magnetic effects of current, and the details of all these things we'll discuss in the due course. The second part of the introduction includes the relation with the previous syllabus. Students, in unit 1 we discussed about the behavior of charges at rest. We discussed all those phenomenon which arise when we consider the charges which are at rest. We discussed about the force acting between charges, their electric field, their potential energy, and so on, but nowhere we considered their motion. So that was the part where we discussed primarily their electrical effects. Then in unit 2 current electricity, we discussed about charges in motion which gave rise to electric current, but again we considered only their electrical behavior in that aspect. To some extent we touched the heating effect as well. And now considering this fact that we already know how do charges behave when they are at rest and when they have been set into motion. Now we are going to discuss about the allied effects of current, and we will discuss about the magnetic effects. Afterwards, now we'll discuss about the relevance of this unit for your syllabus. Students, you can roughly expect 8 to 9 marks portion from this unit in your final examinations. There are so many important and easy and scoring areas in this unit. There are 2 devices, that is cyclotron and moving coil galvanometer, which are always important. In addition to that, there are 2 more areas, that is Biot-Savart's law and its applications and Ampere's circuital law and its applications. From these 3 topics which I have mentioned, you can always expect a 3 or a 5 mark question in your final exams. So these all occur to be the easy and scoring areas. So this unit will definitely fetch you easy and scoring questions in your final exams. So let's just move on now. So let us discuss about the topics that we are going to discuss today. So today we'll discuss about the Oersted experiment, which is the historical overview of the magnetic effects of current. Then we'll discuss about Ampere's swimming rule, Maxwell corkscrew rule, and right hand thumb rule. Students, these 3 rules are used to find out the direction of magnetic field due to current carrying conductors. And finally, we'll discuss about Biot-Savart's law, which will tell us the method to calculate the magnitude of the magnetic field produced by current elements. So, first of all, the magnetic effect of current. Let us see what is the meaning of magnetic effect of current. An electric current produces magnetic effect in the space around the conductor called strength of magnetic field or simply magnetic field. Students, so far you have already studied about two types of fields. One was the gravitational field and other was electric field. In the case of gravitational field, we have learned whenever there is an object which is carrying certain mass, it is having a region around it up to which its gravitational force is experienced. That region around the mass is known as its gravitational field. Similarly, if we are considering a charge, there is a region around that charge up to which its electrical influence can be felt, and that region is called as electric field. On the parallel lines, we can conclude if we have a magnet or a current carrying conductor, there is a region around it up to which its magnetic influence can be felt, and that region is called as magnetic field. And we can calculate the strength of that magnetic field using certain formulae that we will learn. So, the origin of magnetic effect of current came from an experiment that was performed by Oersted. So let us see what that experiment was about and what was concluded on the basis of that experiment. In that experiment, there was a simple circuit made up of a battery connected with the rheostat. Rheostat is simply to maintain a certain level of current. Then there is a key which is connected with the help of a wire. When this key will be inserted, then current will start flowing. In addition to that circuit, you are also watching this red and black portion here. That is the representation of a magnetic compass. Students, magnetic compass is nothing but a tiny magnet which can rotate around its axis. In normal situations, it will align itself in the north-south direction under the influence of Earth's magnetic field. But if there is some other magnetic field in addition to Earth's magnetic field, then it will change its direction from north-south to align in the direction of other effective magnetic field present in its surrounding. So that magnetic compass or magnetic needle has been kept below that wire. If on flow of current that magnetic compass shows some deflection, that will clearly indicate that this circuit has got magnetic field, that wire which is carrying current has got magnetic field. So let us see what happens when this key is closed. So students, what you can see, when the key was closed, current started flowing and the north pole of that magnetic compass has got deflection. That deflection clearly indicates that there is some magnetic field present here because of the flow of current. That has shown that magnetic effect of current are actually present. So when the current was allowed to flow through the wire placed parallel to the axis of the needle, kept directly below the wire, the needle was found to deflect from its normal position. That showed that the current carrying conductor was having magnetic influence. Then this experiment was performed with slightly different configuration. Now the polarities of the battery have been reversed. Students, when the polarities will be reversed, we know the direction of the current in the external circuit will also change. So let us see what happens when the direction of current in the circuit has been reversed. Yes, so what did you see? You see that the deflection of the compass is now in the opposite direction. Initially, when the current was in the upward direction, the needle has got deflected towards left. And now when the current is in the downward direction, then the north pole of the needle has got deflected towards right hand side. So we have found that current is a source of magnetic field and the direction of current will decide what will be the direction of magnetic field, what will be the direction of magnetic force. So when the current was reversed, then the needle was found to deflect in the opposite direction. So what we have learned, with the reversal of direction of current, the direction of field, the direction of force will also be reversed. Now to find the direction of magnetic field, There are so many rules which we use to find the direction of magnetic field as per the requirement of the situation, and as per your own convenience you can choose any of these rules to find the direction of magnetic field. So we are going to discuss them one by one. So let us discuss first of all the Ampere swimming rule. As the name is indicating, it is having something to do with the swimming. However, we need not actually swim to find out the direction. It is just a method to represent the direction of current in terms of a person who is swimming in the water. So let us see. So what we are going to do, we are going to imagine a person who is swimming as shown in the direction from south to north, and we are going to assume that current is flowing in his direction of swim. That is, the current is flowing from south to north. Then what does this law states? It states that if we keep a needle below him so that he is facing the needle has been kept in such a way that his face is towards the needle, and the current is flowing from his foot towards his hand, that is from south to north direction. That means the current is in the direction of south to north. Then this law states that in that particular situation, the needle's north will deflect towards his left hand. That means to say, if the current is flowing from south to north and a needle is kept below that current carrying wire, then its north will deflect towards west, because his left hand will be towards west direction. So that is what is the Ampere swimming rule. So imagine a man who swims in the direction of current from south to north facing a magnetic needle kept under him such that current enters his feet, then north pole of the needle will deflect towards his left hand, that is towards west. That is also known as the snow rule, that is south, north over west. That means if the current goes from south to north and the current carrying conductor is over the needle, then its north will deflect towards west. So that is called as the snow rule. Okay, the next one is the Maxwell corkscrew rule, or it is also known as the right hand screw rule. Students, right handed screw is the one which is to which if we give the right handed rotation. Right handed rotation means to say, if we are watching its top from the if we are watching it from the top, that right handed rotation will look like clockwise rotation. So that kind of screw we call as a right-handed screw, that if it is given a right-handed rotation, then it should close. And the left-handed screw we are considering, on giving it left-handed rotation, it will close. So the Maxwell screw rule states, if the forward motion of the imaginary right-handed screw is in the direction of current through a linear conductor, then the direction of rotation of screw gives the direction of magnetic lines of force around the conductor. Now students, what do we know? If we'll give a clockwise rotation to a right-handed screw, then it will go inwards. That means to say, if there is an inward current, the current is in the direction of motion of screw, then the rotation of the screw is giving you the direction of magnetic field lines. We will see it in the diagram. So as it is showing, if the current is upward, then the magnetic field is as shown there. And similarly, if the direction of current is reversed, the direction of magnetic field lines will also reverse. Students, see clearly the circular loops which are shown here in the diagram. They are not indicating the magnetic field itself, they are actually indicating the magnetic field lines. And to find the direction of magnetic field at a given point, we will have to draw the tangent. Okay, then next one is the right hand thumb rule or curl rule. Students, this rule is most commonly used to find out the direction of magnetic field due to a straight conductor. So let us see what this rule is about. So this rule states that if we hold a straight current carrying conductor in a right hand, so that our thumb is in the direction of current. So as you can clearly see in the diagram, if we are holding the current carrying conductor in a right hand, so that thumb is in the direction of current, then the curl of the fingers of the right hand will give us the direction of magnetic field lines. That means to say, the curl of the fingers this way, that will be the direction of magnetic field lines, right? So this will give us the direction of magnetic field lines. This is what is known as the right hand thumb rule. And students, once we have found the direction of magnetic field lines, then we can find out the direction of magnetic field at a given point by drawing the tangent. So if we draw the tangent to these magnetic field lines at any given point, that will give us the direction of magnetic field. Students, remember this right hand thumb rule does not give us the direction of field directly. It simply tells us about the direction of field lines, and then we have to imagine about a tangent direction that will give us the direction of magnetic field. So let us see what does it further say. So as you can see, that will be the direction of magnetic field lines, and then we can draw the tangent at a given point to tell us the direction of field. Clearly, what we can see is the straight current carrying conductor has got a field which is in the various directions. Its direction depend upon our point of observation, where we are considering the point of observation. According to the location of point of observation, the direction of field will keep on changing. So if the current carrying conductor is imagined to be held in the right hand such that thumb is in the direction of current, then the tip of fingers encircling the conductor will give the direction of magnetic field lines. So this was the rule to find out the direction of magnetic field. Students, we have learned three methods. One was the Ampere swimming rule, then was the Maxwell corkscrew rule, and third one is the right hand thumb rule. Now these methods are used to find out the direction of the magnetic field, and now we will learn how do we calculate the magnitude of magnetic field. There are further so many methods for that. Depending upon the situation, we use all the different methods. Students, Biot-Savart's law is used to find out magnetic field due to a very small current element. Student, current element is a small portion of a current carrying conductor whose direction is in the direction of current. It is generally written as I into dl, where dl is a small length element of the current carrying conductor and I is the current flowing through it, and it is a vector quantity. Its direction is same as that of current. So Biot-Savart's law is used to find out the magnetic field due to a small current element, and because it will give us a small value of magnetic field, for total magnetic field we will be doing the integration. So let us see what is Biot-Savart's law. Students, we are considering a current carrying conductor as shown, through which the current is flowing in the upward direction, and we have considered the value of current to be I, and then we consider a point P, which is the point of observation, and we are considering a small element dl. Students, so this one will become our current element IDL, whose direction will be same as that of current. The distance of point of observation from the current element has been considered to be r, and the r vector is making an angle theta with dl vector. So students, we will use the Biot-Savart's law to find out the amount of magnetic field of this small current element IDL. Students, remember the formula of the Biot-Savart's law, the statement of the Biot-Savart's law entirely is a mathematical definition. So it is nothing but a mathematical expression itself that we will be explaining to state the formula. So the statement is the formula itself. So let us see what that formula states. Similarly, we can consider the point of observation on the other side. Then the direction of field will be reversed. The direction of field we can find just like we have used here in the right hand thumb rule. If we hold it in our right hand, we know clearly the current will be flowing as the magnetic field lines will be as shown here. So in this direction the field will be vertically inwards, perpendicular inward, and that is represented by a cross. And if we consider the point of observation to be here, the field lines will be coming outward at this point. The field will be perpendicular outward, which is represented by a dot. However, the strength of the field will remain same as long as the distance does not change. So Biot-Savart's law states that the small value of magnetic field due to a current element will be directly dependent upon the amount of current, is directly dependent upon the length of the current element, and is directly dependent upon sine of the angle between dl and r vector, and is inversely proportional to r square, that is the distance between the point of observation and the current element. So combining all these factors, we get dB is directly proportional to IDL sine theta upon r square. The proportionality constant which occur here is mu naught upon 4 pi. Students, just like in electrostatics, the proportionality constant included a term epsilon naught, which we called as the permittivity of free space. So that was a medium dependent term. Same way, mu naught here is called as the permeability of free space or air. So that term also indicates that magnetic field strength will depend upon the nature of the medium surrounding the current carrying conductor. So magnetic field strength, the magnetic force, they will also depend upon the nature of the medium in the surroundings. So this is the formula for the magnetic field strength due to a small current element, and this formula itself is known as the Biot-Savart's law. So let us now discuss about Biot-Savart's law in vector form. Students, magnetic field strength is a vector quantity and it will have a direction, but the formula that we have seen in the previous page, that was only indicating the strength of the field. Let us see how do we find the direction in the form of the mathematical expression. Students, this was the formula. Now we see in the numerator there is a term like IDL sine theta. We know any term which looks like AB sine theta should can be represented in the form of A cross B, but the requirement is the theta there should be angle between A and B. Here also we see a term like IDL sine theta, but we clearly know that theta is not the angle between I and DL. Moreover, I is not a vector quantity, so there is no possibility of writing something like I cross dl. Rather, theta is the angle between dl and r. So if we have to write it in terms of a cross product, then we must have some r term in the numerator. To introduce that, we will be putting that unit vector in the direction of r in the numerator. So when we write it this way, then we can write it as dl cross r. So magnetic field strength will be in the direction of cross product of dl and r. So that will give us the direction of field. Now students, this r was not present here. We have introduced it here. It is only a unit vector. It has not got any magnitude except 1. So that does not create any difference even if we write it in the numerator. But if we want to change it with r vector, then we will have to increase 1 power of r in the denominator. Right, students? So this has occurred because we know that r cap is equal to r vector divided by r. So when we have substituted this value here, so that is why 1 power of r has increased in the denominator, and the numerator it has turned out to be r vector. So students, we know about the cross products. If I'm writing dB vector in terms of dl cross r, that means to say dB vector must be perpendicular to both dl and r. In the diagram what we have seen, this was the current element, this was dl direction, and this was the direction of r. So clearly in this case, if I apply the right hand rule to find the direction of cross product, dl cross r in this direction, if I hold dl in my right hand and I turn it towards r, my thumb will point in the inward direction. So the direction of magnetic field on the right hand side of the wire will be perpendicular inward, as it was shown in the previous diagram also. And similarly, if I consider the point of observation on this side, I take r vector in this direction. In that case, dl cross r will be in the outward direction. My thumb will point in the outward direction. So the magnetic field will be shown by a dot. That means to say magnetic field will be perpendicular outwards. So that gives us the direction of the field, so that we can find using the cross product of the two vectors. So in any case, it is going to be perpendicular to both dl and r. Students, the value of mu naught here is 4 pi into 10 raised to power minus 7 Tesla meter per ampere. Students, Tesla is the SI unit of magnetic field strength. How do we define 1 Tesla? That we will discuss when we discuss about the magnetic Lorentz force. Another unit used for mu naught is Weber per meter per ampere. Here Weber is the SI unit of magnetic flux. That also we'll discuss in the due course, what is the meaning of magnetic flux and so on. Students, here you can clearly see the value of mu naught is 4 pi into 10 minus 7. That means to say the value of mu naught upon 4 pi taken together will be 10 raised to power minus 7. Be very careful, this power here is in the negative sign. In the case of electrostatics, the proportionality constant was 9 into 10 raised to power 9. There the power was in the positive number, and here the power is in the negative number, that we have to be careful about. The direction of dB is same as that of dl cross r, which can be determined by right hand screw rule or simply right hand rule. The emerging dot at P dash and entering cross at P into the plane of the diagram. So dot indicates outward perpendicular field and cross indicates inward perpendicular field. The current element is a vector quantity whose magnitude is the vector product of the current and the length of the small element having the direction of flow of current, that is IDL vector. Students, IDL vector is the multiplication of a scalar with the vector, and its direction will be same as that of current. We know current is a scalar quantity. It is not considered to be a vector despite of having a direction, because it does not obey the vector laws of addition. But the current element is considered to be a vector, and its direction is taken to be same as that of current. So students, with this we are done with the Biot-Savart's laws expression and its discussion. The remaining part of Biot-Savart's law include its application to find magnetic field strength at the center and at a point on the axis of a circular current carrying conductor. These two questions are very important, and we will take them separately in the next session. Thank you very much.